Hi, I'm Julie from Clever Poppy, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own beautiful, unique woven wall hanging. These wall hangings are so much more achievable to make than they might look, and with my tutorial I can guarantee you'll be able to make one. They're such a beautiful piece of wall art for your home. They have that lovely organic look, it's handmade, they're totally on trend, and they just look amazing. So in the tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to do a few different techniques, like this beautiful plaited look across the top, or basic weave or tassels, and you can combine them to make your own unique piece. You can also use a DIY loom. There's a blog on my website all about how to make one with a photo frame. Okay, so let's get started and you are going to love this.
You'll need some balls of wool roving. I use a few different colours. Then some balls of yarn. I used 8-ply or chunkier. You'll also need a loom, it can be DIY. 2 bits of dowel, one thicker than the other, some sharp scissors, some strong cotton thread, and a big needle. So first we'll create the warp. Tie your cotton thread to the bottom left corner of your loom and then wind it up and down around the nails. Keep threading it up and down and try to keep it as tight as possible. Once you get it to the bottom right corner, tie it off around the bottom of the loom. Now grab the bigger piece of dowel and push it under all of the warp threads, and now we'll push it right to the bottom of the loom. This creates a lot of tension, which is what you want before you start weaving. So now it's time to weave. This is the fun part. I'm going to teach you some different techniques and you can combine them to make a unique wall hanging of your own. So I always start my weaves with a few rows of basic weave at the bottom. I double over my yarn, then starting at one side, simply go under and over the warp threads. Once you get to the other end, weave all the way back, but this time go under and over the opposite threads. Push those right to the bottom. And now that we've got that band of basic weave at the bottom, you can tie it off at the back and we'll start with some tassels. Tassels take a bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to make them with your eyes closed. Double up some yarn. Now we want to thread that underneath the far 2 left warp threads. Then pull it through the middle to make a bit of a loop. Now grab the 2 ends and thread them both down through the middle of that loop. Pull it tight, and hey, what do you know? You've now made a tassel. So repeat those right along the bottom of your weaving. Sometimes I use a different colour in the centre band, or I keep them all the same, and you can even do a couple of rows of tassels if you want to have a really thick, chunky look. Don't bother cutting anything off yet, because we can do that at the end. Right, so now the most beautiful weaving technique I know, which is this plaited style. Grab a piece of wool roving and arrange it on your right, and then thread the left of it under the 2 far left warp threads. Now get the tail and thread that under the next 2, going right to left. Pull that tight. And now you can pull the thread down to the right on the diagonal. Now we just do that again. So grab the next pair of warp threads in and thread it under again, going right to left. And then you're going to pull it down on the diagonal towards the right. Repeat that until you get to the other side. Definitely takes a bit of practice, and I often have to look at a video to remind myself how to do it. When you get to the far end, do your loop around and then do another. Now we're going to do this all backwards, so grab the second pair in and now go underneath it left to right. Pull the wool to the left on the diagonal and repeat. Always going left to right on that direction. Once you get to the far end, have a bit of a tidy up, and then you can either knot it off or leave them to tidy up around the back later. I added in some basic weave after doing the sumac stitch. Basic weave also looks really gorgeous with wool roving, and it's a great way to easily fill in your weave. So simple and looks so effective. Right, clouds are a really beautiful technique. These are one that I kind of made up. It's just a bit of a freehand technique where I get some light fluffy wool roving, preferably white, and I do some knots. I weave it up and down, twist it around, and just generally create a cute fluffy look. So that's a few different techniques that you can now combine to make your own wall hanging. Sometimes I keep it really simple with lots of basic stitch. Other times I want to do lots of the plaited sumac look. All just depends on what kind of look you're going for. With all of my weaves, I always finish them with one of the plaited sumac stitches along the top. It seems to hold together well when we take it off the loom. So once you're done, flip it over and we can tidy up the back. The aim is really just to have it sitting as flat as possible against the wall. So cut off any loose threads and tie any that you think might unravel. Right, so now we're going to take it off the loom. First we'll undo the bottom. So take out the large piece of dowel that was creating all that tension. Flip your weave over and flick up all the tassels so that you can see what's going on at the bottom. Now I carefully snip off a section of warp threads and tie them in knots and pairs to secure them at the bottom. Do that right the way along. Now your weave will just be hanging by the top loop, so carefully take them off your loom. We're actually going to use these to hang it later, so you don't want to snip these off. You can use your needle to help get them off. And look at that, your weave is free. Now you simply need to grab your smaller dowel and thread that right through all the hoops. Be careful you don't pull too much because you don't want to sort of distort the plait that's along the top. And try really hard not to lose any of those hoops, or loops I should say. You need all of them to hold your weave in place along the top. Lastly, just grab some of the cotton thread and tie a piece to each side of the piece of dowel, and that will create the hanger.
I really hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Once you get the hang of it, you can go from making wall hangings like this to ones with beautiful curved lines like this. It's all just a matter of practice makes perfect. Well, it doesn't need to be perfect, it needs to be organically unique. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you loved this project as much as I think you will, then make sure you follow my channel for lots more DIY inspiration.